I will go ahead and talk for a few seconds and give people a chance to join in. So we've been doing these lives for about 2 months now, once a week, once every other week, with various people who work at TherapyWorks to kind of answer some FAQs and get information out there to, people who are trying to take care of their health or who have had recent injuries or trying to avoid injuries, things like that. So this live is with our personal trainer, James Findley, who's here with me. And it is about summer exercise and sports health. Hi, James.
How's it going? My name's James Findley.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, you can probably introduce yourself better.
I've been an employee. I've been working at TherapyWorks since 2005 as a physical therapy tech when I first started working here, and then whenever I graduated from KU in 2008, I started working as a personal trainer, running my own business out of here, and then helping TherapyWorks with their wellness program. Yeah.
So, what kind of clients do you work with, James?
I work with clients of all types, abilities. My day's kind of broken up where I work with retirees and professionals before 8 o'clock in the morning before they go to work, and retirees during the daytime. And then after school, I work with high school athletes and professionals after work. So the whole gamut of clients.
Yeah, that's a pretty broad spectrum. What kind of goals are they usually working towards? What things do you help them out with?
So with my clients that are retirees and the lifestyle kind of clients, we work on improving activities of daily living, keeping their bodies healthy, strong, so they can help with the grandkids or do the tasks that they need to around the house, that sort of thing, just to improve their function and then help them age well. And then with the high school kids, we work towards sport performance things, typically working on running faster, jumping higher, being more athletic, that sort of thing. So
yeah, so most personal trainers tend to kind of work at bigger gyms and stuff like that. What made you want to work at a physical therapy location?
TherapyWorks is really fun and unique because it allows me to work with all ability levels. I've had the pleasure of working with everyone from 80, 90-year-old people to athletes under the age of 10. I really get to all levels of clientele here.
Yeah, that's really cool. So as you know, this time of year it's getting very hot outside, but that doesn't mean that there aren't a lot of people working out outside. And it seems like every time I'm out and about, there's, sports going on and people going for runs or even just walks to try and keep fit. But what are some of the biggest risks to athletes and exercisers during the summer?
I think as a person that grew up in Southwest Kansas and played football and did a lot of the heat-oriented activities, I think that one of the big things that you have to really look out for right now is dehydration. It's hot out. It's Kansas, especially in eastern Kansas. It's quite humid, so the sweat doesn't quite evaporate and cool people off like it normally does. So I think one of the most important things is to make sure that you're getting enough rest, and not just at night. When sleep is super important for exercise, people don't get enough of that. But also, in the middle of your run during the day, make sure you stop or bring some water with you so you can rehydrate. Some Gatorade that maybe has some electrolytes in it so that you don't get cramps, that sort of thing. But I was thinking about this on a secondary note. I also play in a recreational sports league, a kickball league, and we've had a lot of pulled muscles this year, and I attribute that to a lot of we had a year off last year with COVID, so people haven't.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, they haven't been doing the maintenance exercises that they probably should with their recreational sports, and so after taking a full year off and then jumping right back into the recreational sports, it puts a lot of load on the body. And so if you're not doing the exercises you need to supplement the sport specifically, then we see a lot of things like pulled quads and pulled hamstrings, that sort of stuff. So I think it's really, really beneficial to set yourself up with a general exercise program, something that addresses, core strength, hip flexors, glutes, quads, hamstrings, all that good stuff. So that whenever you do hit the field, those muscles are ready to go and are primed for the movement.
Absolutely. So a lot of that is, great information, both for people who are already in sports and people who are, about to kind of get back on the horse a bit. But what would you recommend considering maybe for people who, let's say, have been playing sports all summer and kind of feel like they're doing okay? Are they still at risk for injury, or are they probably pretty fine? What do you think?
It's hard to tell, like individual cases. Everyone has weakness within their bodies and everything, pre-existing conditions are usually the big thing. But I think a good just a general strengthening program, something that focuses on squats and hinges, the deadlift, pushing and pulling exercises like push-ups and rows. I think if you do a good full body workout that focuses on those 4 areas there, the squat and the hinge and the push and the pull, generally I think that a program like that will address all the strength needs that you might need for your sport. But that's just a generalized statement there. Obviously a good program has many components to it, both
of course,
lifting and cardiovascular and flexibility. So
yeah, I know all of these questions are very general. And of course, as a personal trainer, one of the great things that you get to do is get really down into the nitty gritty of each person's, individual needs. Yeah. But how often, so you talked about, kind of a workout to keep your general strength good such that you don't injure yourself. How often should you supplement your, say you're playing in an adult kickball league, how often should you supplement your games with, say, some of the more general strength training?
I on game day, I don't like to lift heavy or to do anything too rigorous, especially for a recreational athlete. I mean, it's one thing for like a KU basketball player, they'll lift on game day. But they're prime time. And so, I don't think it's necessarily bad to work out before a game, because I think that it will, warm your muscles up, and I think that it'll kind of put you in the mental place that you need to improve your performance. But then at the same time, I would do them on your off days as part of maybe like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday kind of thing. And then if you have a game on Saturday or Sunday, that would be ideal. But I always like to give myself a day of rest in between days where I'm doing vigorous exercise. So 2 or 3 times a week would be best. I think the more consistent you are, though, the better it is. So. For
sure. All right, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know, you have a lot going on, but just one last question. With, COVID on the rise, especially around the Lawrence area, I was looking at the map today and it does not look great. A lot of people might be looking for, alternatives to traditional group sports this, August and maybe even a little bit into this fall. So what are some good ways to stay fit on your own around this time of year?
So one of the blessings that I've had from COVID is that I love exercises that get me outside. And so, hiking, mountain biking, I've gotten really in over the last 2 years into gravel cycling. And it's just road cycling out in the countryside. And so I think the exercises that allow you to pursue them individually and not in a team setting where you're exposed to other people. And obviously, you can do that intelligently with social distancing, mask wearing, that sort of stuff. But for me, over the pandemic, cycling has been godsend. It's been one of the best things that's ever happened to me, and it's cardiovascular in nature. So you exercise your heart. You exercise your lungs, you get a lot of circulation out of it, and you burn a ton of calories. So it helps you with some of those stubborn pounds that you might have put on over the break. And it's something that you can pursue individually on your own. And you don't have to be on someone else's schedule. You don't have to go on Sunday to the game. You don't have to fight the crowds at the gym. You go out and you ride your bike and you find peace for yourself in nature. And that's one of my favorite things to do is get out, listen to the birds, hear the rustling of the wind in the trees, and the sun on your face. I think that it's one of the best things that you can do for yourself is go buy a bike.
Yeah, sounds good. I know that, bike sales have really been up during the pandemic. So,
yeah, I recommend
you're not the only one with that idea.
Go to the Facebook Marketplace and find yourself a bike on there if you don't have one, or go down to your local bike shop and talk to them about proper bike fit, and then you come see me and I'll help you with the exercises that help you address the bike so that you can handle it and be more in control of your body in space.
Perfect. All right. Anything else you'd like to add before we sign off?
No, but if you want any in-person fitness advice or consultations on exercise or personal training, or even if you just want to drop me an email, you can call TherapyWorks and they'll have my contact info, or look us up on Facebook and shoot us a message, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have that are specific to an area of exercise or personal training, and I'll get those answered for you.
All right. Thanks so much, James. And I just want to say, we being TherapyWorks, I know that we're really proud to be not just a physical therapy clinic, but really a place that takes into account all levels of fitness and all different types of, physical goals. And I just wanted to thank you for being such a real cornerstone of that. I feel like you really round us out. So keep it up.
All right. Thanks, Caitlin.
All right. Thanks so much, James.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.